let's go to the NBA All-Star starters. They were named in both the East and the West. Now, important note this year, Josh. We have not dove into this, and we're going to dive into a lot more NBA now the football season is almost over. But the NBA has changed the All-Star format once again. It has gone back to the old East versus West style, which I'll be honest, I don't like. I don't like All-Star Weekend to begin with. I'm just going to say it up front. Never have, never will. I think it's a gimmick. I think that the dunk contest has been completely watered down. I think it's a
Oh,
show
I
of
agree
itself.
with. Let me just stop you right there. Not because I disagree, but because I fully agree. The dunk contest for a while, like in the early 2000s, was one of those things that you really looked forward to. Like, I remember when JaVale McGee of the Washington Wizards did the dunk with the two basketballs and the two hoops. You know what I'm talking about? Or you had
Yeah,
Dwight Howard with the Superman cape in New
that was
Orleans.
the last good dunk contest that I remember. That one with Aaron Gordon, I always thought was overrated as hell.
Oh, come on!
I always thought
That
it
was
was no,
amazing!
it was only overrated because you haven't seen a good dunk contest in 10 years. That's why people liked it. It was nothing close to the old school dunk contest.
Oh, I love. I think you might be stuck in the old school too much, but it. In terms of your overall statement about the dunk contest, yes, I agree.
Anyway,
Yes.
yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of All Star Weekend, but nonetheless, your thoughts. I'm going to ask a real quick question before we get into the All Star starter name. Do you like the fact they have gone back to the old East versus West, not the target score for Kobe Bryant, obviously?
It's okay. From what I heard, I don't think East versus West is going to be the format moving forward. It sounds like they might try something different, like maybe U.S. versus World or something. I heard rumors
Which
about
I
that.
mean, theoretically, they could do now. Now that there's so many international great players we've talked about. Um, yeah, I don't know, but naming for the Eastern Conference, obviously Captain Giannis, he was going to win it in the East no matter what. It's almost a lock, just like LeBron from the West. Joel Embiid representing the big men in the East. Your guy Jason Tatum, the other forward, and then the two guards, Damian Lillard and Tyrese Halliburton.
The voters got it right with 4 out of the 5. I'm fine with Giannis. Joel Embiid makes sense. Tatum, yes. Tyrese Halliburton has been playing fantastic for the Pacers, so for sure. But no, not Damian Lillard. How about Donovan Mitchell? Or, I don't know, Jalen Brunson? I mean, either of them should have gotten it over Damian Lillard.
Well,
But
it's a fan vote. It's a popularity contest. I never thought fans should vote for All Star Weekend. I never thought the fans should be involved. It's going to sway the vote because fans in the NBA and the NFL is starting to become this, but it's really been a thing in the NBA for a decade. The NBA, because obviously we know the superstars run this league, as I've been saying for years. Because of that, fans are more fans of players than they are of teams. And so, because of that, and we have, your LeBrons, your Lucas, your Stephs, your Giannis's, your Embiid, your Durant's, guys that are going to be in the All Star game every year, regardless. I mean, LeBron could break his leg game one and still be voted captain of the All Star game in the West. That's just the way it works.
yeah, sure. I get what you're saying overall about the All Star game because it is more of an exhibition, but you know what? It's for the fans. Like we get, personally, I get enjoyment out of watching it. You, like Steph and LeBron teaming together. That's fun. You know, I like that. I
I mean, I did. I mean, I like it to a certain extent, but when they clearly stop trying, it's when it gets a little flamboyant to me.
and I
Um,
understand that.
I mean, it's fun to watch, but it really, back in the day, here I go again with my back in the day references. They used to play hard for 4 quarters. It used to be, 120 to 100 or whatever. Now it's like 250 to 220. Um,
Yeah, I get
so
that. Um, bef- Before we move off of this All Star topic, we are finally getting it, a WNBA NBA crossover. It is official. NBA All Star Saturday night. Who it? Dang, I just had a voice crack there. Let me try that again. Who is the better shooter? Sabrina Ionescu of the New York Liberty or Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors?
so
We
is this replacing the skills challenge, or are they just adding this on?
I'm not sure about all that, but I know it's happening on All Star Saturday night.
So it sounds like Steph is going to shoot from the men's 3-point line and use men's basketballs. Now you are a avid women's college basketball fan. You have written an article that's going to go soon on Voltage Live about women's college basketball. So for somebody like myself that doesn't watch a ton of women's college basketball, just and for the audience out there, just sort of explain what this means and sort of the difference between the women's balls and then the women's 3-point line, obviously.
So the women's 3-point line is a little bit closer than the men's, but personally, I love women's college basketball and just the WNBA in general. You get great matchups all the time, almost all the time. Um, and I've been asking for the WNBA to be injected into the NBA All Star Weekend in some capacity. Originally, I wanted it to be like some type of mixed All Star game, but the logistics of that would just be an absolute nightmare. Because what if they switch and you end up with a man guarding a woman or a woman guarding a man? I don't want to get into that whole political um, shindig and whatnot, but it just wouldn't work. But for this to be happening, I love it. It brings attention to the WNBA. You fans get to see the greatness of Sabrina Ionescu because she is a shooter.
Compare her in NBA terms. Is she the Steph Curry of the NBA?
I would say so. Yeah, that's why fans are clamoring for her to go against Steph in this 3-point shootout. Um, it'll be interesting to see, do they keep it like a regular 3-point shootout where they have the racks at the different points around the 3-point line, or are they going to do some sort of variation? Is it going to be like a 1-round thing, or is it going to be like 2 or 3 rounds? I'm very curious about all of that.
Well, we have got to get to LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers on Thursday night. They battle Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics.
Yes. So the Celtics already took round 1 against LeBron and the Lakers back on, I think it was on Christmas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was. That game was on Christmas. It was in LA. The game was close, I believe, throughout the first half. Boston pulled away in the second half. Um, again, you know my feelings on regular season basketball, though I do think this is a big game. Obviously, Lakers are struggling right now. We're about a week away from the trade deadline. It does seem like every year LeBron's teams, whether it's Cleveland or LA or even Miami, for a few years there, hover around the 500 mark of the trade deadline, redo their entire team, and make a run to the finals. I don't know if the Lakers can do that this year. It's weird, right? Because they're about the same team, and Boston has obviously been the best team in the East, if not the entire NBA, all regular season long. We'll see how they would do in a 7-game series, and what we presume against will be Milwaukee. But Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, these Celtics, led by Joe Mazzulla, have been a dominating force pretty much, I mentioned, from the get-go this season. But the Lakers-Celtics rivalry, it used to mean something, obviously, way back in the day, the Kobe Bryant days. It really hasn't felt that special to me in at least a decade. But it's always fun to see them match up.
Yeah, I agree. Lakers Celtics doesn't quite have the same meaning um, as it did back in the early 2000s when you had them meet in the 2008 NBA Finals, and then 2 years later in the 2010 NBA Finals, that great Game 7.
Oh,
Oh,
incredible. Remember Ron Artest, or middle world peace at the time, hitting that 3-pointer. The Lakers had to come down 3-2 in that series. It looked like Boston was going to beat them again, and Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, uh,
oh
would
yeah.
would not let that happen. Again, the Lakers this year are a weird team. We both thought they could have a chance to make a run at the finals this year. I think we both picked them to go to the finals and lose to Milwaukee. We both had Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals against Milwaukee. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I think they got to make a move at the deadline, though. Again, I don't know what that move will do. They don't have a ton of pieces. And it's been really the same story for the Lakers as it has been for the last 5 years. LeBron is great. Anthony Davis is not reliable. He's hit or miss. You don't know what you're going to get from him. And everybody else on the team is like, some nights they want to play and some nights they don't.
Yeah. Even though it doesn't have the same meaning, it's still the Lakers and the Celtics, so you still want to tune in. Um, the Celtics have only lost twice on their home floor this season, which is pretty incredible. In the grand scheme of things, I get to you. It might not be that big of an achievement.
No, I mean that matters. That I always said. I think the one thing is, if you're a dominant home team, usually you do very well in the postseason.
Okay, that's fair. And their 2 home losses are to championship contenders in the Nuggets and the LA Clippers. It's not
Yeah,
like
and Denver was the one recently. And when we dive into more NBA here, February and March, Clippers are a shock. They looked like early in the year they were falling off a cliff.
yeah, they did. Um, I can't believe how much James Harden has bought in on the defensive end.
James Harden, Russell Westbrook, me and you are going to get into some takes about Russell Westbrook. I think he's the most overrated and worst basketball player currently in the NBA.
Oh, good God. But
I've
anyway,
been saying it for years.
you and your crazy takes. But anyway,
I don't have crazy takes. I spit facts. Has Russell Westbrook ever made a conference finals without Kevin Durant? No. Has Russell Westbrook ever made in the NBA finals? No. He won the MVP because he won a triple double. Who gives a rip? Damian Lillard knocked him out in 5 games.
anyway, getting back to Lakers Celtics. It's for me. It's always fun to see LeBron go against Jason Tatum. I know your thoughts on Jason Tatum, and we're never going to agree there, but because I
Well, we
love
can't agree if Jason Tatum becomes that guy this postseason. If he does not make the finals this year, to me, it's a failure. You're the best team. You're better than Milwaukee right now. Now, I think Milwaukee overall is the better team. They just fired their coach. They're bringing in Doc Rivers. I mean, it just shows in the NBA coaching doesn't matter. Players essentially run the league. I do think coaching matters somewhat when you get into late game situations in the postseason, but it doesn't matter nearly as much as it does in football. So I'm very interested. Right now, I don't have Jason Tatum as a top 10 player, and I can barely get him to snip my top 15. Like Nikola Jokic last year, can Jason Tatum prove me wrong this postseason?
We shall see, but do I think this is an NBA Finals preview? No, I don't. But it's still Lakers Celtics, so it usually turns into a pretty good game when these two teams meet up, and it's always battle for who has the most championships in the NBA because they both have 17, and they're in search of banner 18.